Hello, this is just going to be a short review of the Salter Ultimate Accuracy electronic scales. These are model 9073 WH3R. I bought these as a replacement to some metal salters that I used to have. They weren't giving an accurate reading anymore. I actually did a teardown video on those. If you want to have a look at that, I'll put that in the description. There is another model of these, which is the 9173, and that version lets you have presets for different users, so you can do all things like BMI calculations. These are just the basic version, and they're just way basically. The old scales I had were made of metal. I was trying to find another pair that was metal as well, but all the metal ones are really expensive and they don't really look that great. On the back here you've got a little battery compartment, and that just takes one standard CR2032 battery. You can pretty much get them anywhere. And then over this side, obviously you've got the label telling you the details, the model number, but it also tells you on here the maximum weight, which is 180 kilograms, or 28 stones, 8 pounds, or 400 pounds. It can weigh in 50 gram increments or 1/8 pound increments. There's also a little button here labelled unit, and you basically press that to switch the scales between the units that it shows on the front on the LCD screen. So if you want kilograms or stones and pounds or just pounds, that's how you toggle between the available options. You can see it's fairly plain in terms of colour. It's got a nice sort of a silvery coloured plastic frame, and then this is like a white base, although it does look, it's got a bit of a green tint to it, but I think that's down to the glass, because obviously glass tends to have a green tint, as you can see on the edge there. One of the things I like about these scales is they've got these nicely rounded corners. A lot of the glass scales have got quite sharp corners, and I think especially in a bathroom it'd be easy to knock these against something and either chip something in the bathroom or chip the scales, or more to the point it'd be really easy to whack your toe on a sharp corner. So with these I think they're less likely to do any damage to anything. They've got a fairly large LCD screen here, so if you put a bit of weight on, it will activate. Eventually it should settle on a reading. Obviously I'm moving so it won't, but it's quite a nice clear display, and once you've got a weight on there it will lock and display that weight. So if I shove this thing on, this is only a 5 kilogram, well roughly, you can see it settles and then it flashes to say that it's weighed properly, and then that will stay on the screen for a little while until you take it off, and then it'll reset again. One feature that's nice about these is you don't have to wait for them to calibrate every time you want to use them. My old scales used to have to give them a bit of a tap or knock the top of them and then wait for it to go through a sequence before it's zeroed. With these they're ready to go straight away. The only thing you have to do is when you first put them down on a new surface is just press on the middle and let go, and that's how it calibrates the first time. And once you've done that, they're calibrated until you move them. So if you move them to another location, it does suggest that you do that process again, but if they're in the same place then there's no need. I'll just put a manual on here so anyone wants to read that they can see it. There's only one page of instructions, so there's not really much to it. I say it just tells you the calibration here, well, they call it initializing, but it really is just to calibrate it, and as it says, you just stand on it and it works. I also bought these for weighing heavy parcels. Sometimes I post heavy parcels. I've got these kitchen scales, they'll do up to about 5 kilos, but once you start getting past that you need something a bit heavier. Now these scales don't seem to be able to weigh anything until it's gone past the 5 kilogram, the 10 kilogram mark, but that doesn't mean you can't weigh less. So what I've found is, for example with this is a 5 kilogram weight. If I just put it on, it doesn't trigger the scales, but if I put more than 5 on and then let go, it will give away a reading. Now I'm not sure if the 4.9 is the scales inaccurate or the weights. There's no real way to know that unless you've got a proper calibrated weight you can test it against. And it's interesting in the book that it does say to do all your weights on the same set of scales, because there obviously can be variations between the scales. I have had it down to 2.5 kilograms. This rather unscientific weight here. So that's weighing 2.5, which is what that should be. And again, you have to put more weight on it to trigger it initially. It seems to be about the 10 kilogram mark that I've found. If I put 4 of these on, and then that's picked that up now. So you can use it for parcels as well if you want to. In terms of accuracy, they seem fairly consistent. If you step on and off them 2 or 3 times, you generally get the same reading, whereas a lot of the other scales I've used, you don't. You get quite a bit of variance, as these seem to be quite accurate. In terms of use, it does suggest you put them on a firm, solid surface. Obviously you want something quite level. If you've got a bathroom with carpet in it, probably the best thing is for someone to come and shoot you, because carpets in bathrooms is a really bad idea. But if there's no one available to shoot you, then in the meantime what you can do is fit these feet. It comes with these extension feet, and these basically just push on to the feet on the bottom of the scales here, just to extend the feet so the scales are off the carpet. And then what will happen is these feet will dig into the carpet so that you've got a more solid surface for the scales to sit on. You see, it just extends the foot by that amount. But obviously if you're not using them on carpet, you won't need to do that. Other than that, you just get a plain box, a bit of cardboard packaging with the scales in, which are in a bag. Just as I say, user manual is probably not the right word for it. It's just a page in a variety of different languages. And then there's this slip here, which has got a warning about electromagnetism, not to use them near a microwave and whatnot. I'm not quite sure why you'd have these near a microwave. I mean, really, they're probably for use in the bathroom more than anything. Unless you're using it to weigh Christmas turkey or something, I don't know. So yeah, all in all, there's not really too much to say about them. I've found them to be quite consistent. They seem to be working. I've had them a while, no problems with the battery or anything. I've found that when I have moved them, they sometimes weigh slightly wrong, which is I think why it tells you to recalibrate them, but it's generally fairly obvious, because you'll find that you've probably not lost 10 kilograms of weight in 2 or 3 days. And sometimes it will come up with a letter C as well, which is supposed to be an error. Yeah, the C is supposedly C incorrect initialization, which to me just basically means recalibrate them, so I don't know why they don't call it calibration. So yeah, overall not bad. I'm not sure whether everybody will like the glass surface, because it's just smooth glass. Probably not a good idea to try and use these with wet feet, you know, if you've been in the shower or something. But they seem alright, they seem pretty tough. I've had no problems with them so far, so I'd recommend them.